Hello, Angela Legh. How are you?
I am so good.
I'm so glad to have you here on the edge with me, all the way from London. It looks cold there. It's nice and warm here in California.
Yes, it's freezing rain today. Oh well.
Wow, wow. Well, this is going to be great. Thank you so much for staying up to tune in with me and my brains. Hello, brains, and welcome to On the Edge with April Mahoney. Again, right here is the place where the conversations are pointed, the guests are sharp, and the responses are never dull. You have a lack of self-love. Love is a big $25 word that only has 4 letters, but it means so many things to so many people in so many different ways. You know, how do you like to be loved? When do you want to be loved? Who do you want to be loved like? Do you recognize love? Do you exude love? Do you have unconditional love? I told you it's a big $25 word. Well, I guess right there, Angela Legh, we're going to talk about that. You know, she moved from the United States to start her life all over again in the UK. We're going to talk to her about that. She's writing not her first book, but her second book. We're going to talk to her about that. And I've got some real interesting questions about love and reinventing yourself and a woman that, you know, who's like over the age of 45, because it looks very different now. It feels very different. The tension of vibe, the responsibility of love, finding a suitor, about some self-love. Okay, so we're going to talk about all that and more here on The Edge. Let's welcome our guest today, Angela Legh. Hi, baby.
Hello. So good to be here. Thank you.
It is so good to be here too. I really, really value and love my guests that come all the way from across the pond. So tell us a little bit about your story. And girl, why did you leave the U.S. to go to the UK of all places?
It's a complicated answer, and I'll try to do it simply. So there's a number of reasons. The first, I'm sorry to correct you on this, but I am writing my third book. And
oh, okay. All
the
right.
one we're going to talk about is my second one. My soul said, move to England so that you can finish writing your third book. It's a fairy tale, and England, the land of mist and magic, as I call it, is a perfect place for me to do this. Rainy days make for good writing.
Mm-hmm. Reading for sure.
And reading, absolutely. But another piece of it was that I lived in Northern California where there were wildfires. And in 2017, I lost my home and everything in the Tubbs wildfire. In 2019, the hill that I was living on was burning a week after I moved here.
Wow.
And had I stayed, I would have lived through yet another wildfire. And I am so grateful that I was inspired to move here where there's just like no chance of a wildfire.
Right, because it's cold and it's snowy. But the wildfires, the earthquakes, you know, but it was more than that rattled your world. What else happened?
Well, I did end up divorcing my now ex-husband about a year after the wildfire. When the fire happened, of course, both of us were thrown into complete shock, and we didn't know what to do with ourselves. We were homeless, but homeless with resources. And yet, when 5,000 homes are gone from your community, it makes it really hard to find a rental, for instance. So there were some challenges as I tried to create what I like to think of as a safe spot in the world for the two of us. And I realized sometime in that there would be no safe spot because of the type of marriage I was in. And so I made the decision to leave. At the beginning, I was playing the victim card and blamed him for everything. But in the last year and a half or so, I've grown a lot, and now I know that I made choices, and my choices led me to where I was.
Right. He was a much older man. He was older than you, right?
He was. Yeah. I was, we got married, I was 21 and he was 32.
You were 21, he was 32?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Yeah. And quickly sort of moved away from friends and family and just lived in this bubble of this relationship that more or less was, you know, it was acceptable in the first
Right.
5 years.
Right. What drew you to him? I mean, you know, what drew you to a 31-year-old man, a 32-year-old man?
Oh, he was a business owner. He had stability. I liked the way he spoke to his daughters, my stepdaughters, from as if they were adults. You know, at the time, I thought that was pretty forward thinking of him, and I look at it differently now that I've been a parent. So,
and you know, we keep it real here on the edge, so I'm gonna ask you some questions. I already asked you. Can I ask you some real tough questions? Was it kind of
yes.
a sugar daddy mentality? I mean, before I married Mr. Magnificent, I am not trying to judge anybody, but you know, there was older men. They had a certain swagger. They knew how to open the door for you. They treat you like a lady. They always tip. They always, whatever you want, darling, the world is yours. So that is alluring to women. Was that something that was attractive to you as well?
There was a little bit of that. I grew up in, my father was an alcoholic and pretty much an absent person in my life. And I think at some level I was trying to fix that relationship through the marriage. So
he was kind of a father figure as well.
A little bit, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so then what turned the dial? Did he become a real father figure and try to be your daddy and boss you and talk down to you and, you know, look at those 11 years in a different light?
There was some of that. He was controlling. He talked down to me, very patronizing. And really what changed is that we had a son together. And I think as soon as he realized that my love was now split and I was no longer solely focused on him, that's when the behavior started changing and turning ugly at some time.
Because he had daughters before. So how was his relationship with the son?
How do I say that?
And you know, go as far as you want, and if you don't want to, I honor that as well.
Thank you. He loves his kids. And as you started in the beginning, who can say what love is? I know he loved his kids and loves them, but his paradigm for what love means or what love is not, it's very conditional, and he's very controlling. And
well, I can tell that you're still very raw and you're still very vulnerable in that space. And I can understand, okay, because I've got pre-qualifications on my love And I'll tell you in a heartbeat, you know, you come with some trickery, out you go. I love
totally
it from,
get that.
I love it from a distance. Okay, so now you turn the dial. Your house has been set aflame. Your whole world is turned upside down. You have looked in the mirror and saw someone different. Who is the Angela Avery now?
Angela Avery now is someone.
Gonna be Angela Lee.
Yes. So Avery is my married name, and I'm changing it to Lee. And all my writing, all my business is in Angela Lee. But really, I am the me I always should have been. I am unafraid. I am just someone who loves unconditionally. I am someone who wants to really help people and make a difference in the world, and really scaffold, and my focus is women, so scaffold women into the choice of self-love. Because when you are working from a self-love standpoint, you do not get yourself into the kind of situation that I got myself into.
Well, now I don't know, because folks come with some trickery. See, the first thing that you said is where we agree to disagree, is that you have unconditional love. Now, after all you have been through, good, bad, and the ugly, you still are open enough to love unconditionally. I think that's huge, because that's not me. I got paradigms, commas, quotations, all of that. Again, because I'm trying to edit and filter. You know, you may run across some situations that you had once before. What are some of the gauges that you have? What are some of the things that you've implemented? What are some of the boundaries that you have set for yourself so that you don't run into that head on once again?
What a great question. And really, it's boundaries. You can unconditionally love someone and still have boundaries. Because what unconditional love is, non-judgmental. I am not judging you for anything that you do. And I say, I will not accept you yelling at me. I will not accept you twisting my words into something else. I will not accept you're trying to control me. And I can still love, but have those boundaries.
Okay, and that's great. And that's great. Do you hear that, Brains? Okay, so you can still love. I still love, you know, but again, there are some parameters. And those parameters are set by self, not by outside influences. Because those outside influences, it's a lot of noise. It's a lot of traffic. And folks are going to say stuff to trick you up. And, you know, they come riding in on a shiny new horse and have your butt hitched to the back of a wagon when you leave. So you have to be real clear as to what is going on. So you talk about helping others, and you're coach now. What does that do for you? What does that do for your psyche? Whole lot of coaches out there, Angela, teaching about love and relationships. I talk to 500 a day. But what's the difference with working with Angela and say working with April?
So instead of just talking about self-love, I have walked the journey from someone who had very little self-love and no boundaries at all to someone who has grown into self-love and self-appreciation and knows how to set boundaries. And so when I am speaking to a woman who is dealing with a narcissist, I can go beyond empathy because I've lived it, and I know exactly the fears, the overwhelm, the distrust of your own thoughts, all of that. I've lived it, I know it, and I can coach people beyond that.
Okay, because you say, knowing the signs and the signals. So you've done all of that, and you just uprooted yourself and moved to the United Kingdom.
I did.
you over there with the Queen.
Yes, and before I put pink in my hair.
Know pink hair, they are very liberal over there. Okay, so let's ask some questions. What do the men look like? They seem like they're kind of stoic now. I love you in Europe, but kind of, I don't know. Tell me, what does it look like when you walk the streets of London? What are the men looking like?
Oh, just like anywhere, there's some very handsome men, and then there's some less handsome. In general, the people tend to not look at you. When you're walking, when you're sitting on the subway, eye contact is less frequent than I'm used to from California, where it's wide open.
Hey, how you doing?
Hi.
Yeah, right. Again, they're a little bit more reserved, and that's the cultural norm there. But how you gonna catch if you're not batting your eyes? So tell me, what's going on in the world of dating? I mean, you're a single woman, you're in a brand new country, you're looking for a suitor. I mean, if somebody just to go out to dinner with or have coffee.
Yeah.
So what is it? Are they online dating? What's going on there in the world of relationships?
Well, here it's very similar to California. There's Silver Singles, which is an online dating site for mature people, and there's a ton of men on Silver Singles. And I am not particularly thrilled with the whole idea of online dating. I like old-fashioned, meet someone for coffee, talk to them, and see how the energy between the two feel. And so it's I joined a lot of meetup groups when I moved here, which makes it possible for me to make new friends, and somehow through social circles I will meet somebody.
Okay, well that's great. That's great, because I just want to see, because I probably wouldn't last 15 minutes. Oh yes I would. I'm a catch. Okay. Okay, so I'm not even worried about that. But in the world of online dating, I had a wonderful guest on my show. She was catfished out of $400,000 within 3 months. I told her, I don't know what he was saying to you. They never had cyber sex, never kissed, never saw each other. So we have to be careful with that. I don't even know what an online dating site looks like. Mr. Magnificent would probably, spank me. That might be good, but if he caught me on an online dating site, I'm like, girl, what are you doing? So you have done all of these wonderful things, but you're also an author. Tell us a little bit about your books.
So my first book is called Ignite Your Life for Women. It's an anthology. I'm in with 35 authors, and we're all writing about adversity. So my adversity is the fire and leaving my marriage, which was the hardest thing I've ever done. And I was invited to write a chapter in that book. I wrote a chapter. It was released, and a few weeks ago it was listed by a progressive site as one of the top 28 books in women empowerment.
Wow.
And yeah, it was number 14 on the list, just right underneath Sheryl Sandberg's new book, which kind of felt like, wow, that's really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so you look at yourself in the mirror and you go, wow, look at me. It's a brand new me.
It is a brand new me. Yeah.
So I want to get into the pages of your books. Actually, you agreed to do, give us some short excerpt or a short reading. But I want my brains to understand and hear your voice, your delivery, and just the transformational things that you went through and what you're going to guide others through.
Okay, so I'm going to do a little bit of a reading from my second book, which is called Choices. And this book is a local Sonoma County, California book. There's 20 authors in it, and I'm chapter 4. It's entitled Arising from Victimhood to Forgiveness.
Wow.
Yeah. When something bad happens to you, you have two choices. You can either decide to be a victim of the circumstances, or you can take responsibility for everything and everyone in your world. The choice you make can affect the outcome of the event, as well as color the rest of your life. So in my marriage, I saw myself as a victim, and I behaved like a victim. And in the book, oh dear, that's my front door.
Is somebody at the front door?
Yeah, I'm gonna ignore it.
No, go see who the girl. I can keep them entertained. Go see who's at the front door. They might want to join the podcast. Go ahead, go see. It's okay. See, Brains, things happen, and I keep it real. The door rings, the phone rings, the dog barks, you're cooking. That's what we do on the edge, okay? Because it is real, it is authentic. And I think that, Cheryl has come a long way. I can still hear a little tenderness in her voice, but that's a part of the evolution. That's a part of the growth. That's a part of setting the boundaries, because that's what's going to trigger her in case something doesn't go right. But I have every thought, I have every dream, every wish possible that she's going to start this new life, that she's going to be a successful author and a wonderful coach there in London, England. I think she's close to London, England. So give us just a second and we'll be right back with the interview. Okay?
Okay.
Who is it? Was it a cute delivery guy? What? You're single now, girl. Look at every opportunity. The delivery boy.
It's a grocery delivery.
Oh, see? Yeah, I told you, the grocery boy. A lot of things going on in the grocery store. They say the grocery store and the laundromat are two of the biggest pickup spots ever.
Well, I don't want to go to a bar, so yeah, I'll keep that in mind.
The bookstore. They say the bookstore is good too. Would you ever date a younger man?
As a matter of fact, I did just last weekend. So
I'm scared of you. and what did that feel like on the other side? You being a more mature woman, more seasoned. Did he look at you as a cougar or a cat mama, or was this just mutual?
Oh no, he's 2 years younger.
Oh,
so
that's yeah. I'm talking about like the generation that you and your ex-husband had. Would you date someone that maybe 10 years younger than you?
Maybe 10. It would have, the energy would have to feel right. Because I would be a little bit weirded out if they're close to my son's age. You know what I mean? That's it. Just
age is a matter of mind, baby. If you don't mind, it don't matter. If they're mature and you with respect and have a great conversation. I mean, he may have come from an upbringing, that's like my son. My son could be.
Hold on. Now.
So again, you just have the groceries delivered, which is really cool. I hope they brought you a nice bottle of wine and all of that. I love that, how they do that. They deliver your groceries.
I love that.
But, we were talking about possibly dating a younger man, 10 years younger than you. You said you'd be a little bit weirded out in the event that he was your son's age. which is, 10 or plus years. But as I said, age is a matter of mind. If you don't mind, it don't matter. I raised my son to be very, very mature. We have a blended family. We're very close with his biological mother and her husband and my husband and me. We love each other. So, it takes work to get to that point. But he makes very mature, the person that you get. So would you consider dating outside of your own ethnicity? Have you ever thought about that?
Oh, of course. Yeah.
Yeah.
People are people. I believe that people are people, color, what country you're from, none of that matters to me.
Really? And I find, again, agree to disagree with you on that. I don't mean that people are different, but there are cultural norms. There are some cultures that treat women a certain kind of way because that's indoctrinated in them. Sometimes there's an age differentiation. Sometimes how you're going to blend into the family and blend in with the kids. So just because we're cool with it doesn't mean that everybody's going to be cool with the pink hair.
And you're exactly right. That is all true. And underneath, when I say people are people, what I mean is underneath the hopes, the dreams, the wishes, every parent wants their child to be happy. Mm-hmm. Well, okay, not the ones who abuse, but for the most part, most parents want their children to be happy. And it doesn't matter if you live in Croatia or California or Cheltenham. We all want kind of the same thing. And that's what when I say people are people, that's what I mean. Right. It's the heart.
It's being heart-centered, but there's so many things going on in the world, and relationships have changed, and I talk to my guests about this all the time. It is, it's very different. Online dating, transgender, openly gay marriages, fertility between same sexes, age difference, cultural differences. So the world of dating has really opened up and flourished. So now you have a person that comes to you that wants to work with you. What would be the first thing that you would tell them to do to identify, what their challenges are, and then try to move systematically through those challenges?
So what I would do is I would want to hear their story. I want to hear from them what they see, what is their perspective, and then I would help them embrace perhaps a different perspective that would provide them with peace of mind and help open up new opportunities and a new way of thinking for them.
Right. Open up some new pathways for them, because it's very, very important that we stay fluid and we stay open to new learnings and endless possibilities, that we're not afraid, that we're able to step out on, step out into a brand new country and start a whole new life. So now that you're there, Angela, in the United Kingdom, tell us what is your plans for maybe the next 18 months and how to get in contact with you if my brains want to contact you to do some more deep dive.
Okay, so for the next 6 months, I'm going to be writing my book, and it's a conscious fairy tale, which I'm really excited about. The next 6 months after that, I'm going to be probably searching out a literary agent and trying to get hooked in with publishers. And if all goes well after that, it'll be a bestseller.
It is. So all you have to do is manifest it and call it into existence. That's what we do here on The Edge. We really bring forth the best and the brightest. We encourage you. We motivate you. We're going to be watching you. Tell my brains how to get in contact with you.
Angela at angelalegh.com. And it's Angela, no I.
Legh, no I.
Legh, no
Okay.
I.
There is no I in team, and now we are a team. We are connected at the hip. We are, and thank you so much for, being so open and vulnerable and letting us, walk this walk with you through the fire, but you have come out victorious on the other side. You're beautiful, you're happy, you're finding a whole new life for yourself. I'm so excited for you. I'm going to be watching closely. I'm going to keep in contact with you, and you're going to come back to talk to me and my brains more about, what's in the pages of your book and coaching opportunities, correct?
I sure will.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. I tell you all the time, I love you from the bottom of my socks because my heart just isn't deep enough. Okay. And that includes you, Angela. For real, I really value my brains. I want you to go back and listen to other edgy conversations here on YouTube and Facebook and Spotify and LinkedIn, Twitter, the whole thing. I want you to subscribe because we're trying to build those numbers. We want other people to know that you are connected with us. The 44,000 in 38 countries. I better run my numbers again. It looks like it's growing. So I am glad that you, Angela, are growing, glowing, and doing a fabulous job. I thank you so much for being here on the edge with me and my brains, and be sure to stay close, okay? I'm watching you.
Thank you.
Bye, brains. Have a great day.